Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makara. Let's get started today. I'm actually feeling really good because I started grappling and wrestling from today again. And yeah, just feel sharp. Feel like my energy's finally being where it needs to be. And just reflecting on this month, particularly as day 5 of SR, and I've started to realize that way back in the past, like when I would start this semen retention journey, it's elite level stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I would just spam on edging. That never helped me at all, okay? It actually, the way I think about it is like a slow bleed of your life force energy, you know? You feel tired, you feel drained throughout the day, you get this brain fogginess, you can't even focus, man. You can't get that energy to really go from one task to another task to another task. You kind of have this kind of dull, zombie-like state. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about, okay? This is when I really started to ask for spiritual help, okay? What do I mean by that? Pull out any kind of ancient text and read through it in those moments, okay? The Tao Te Ching, the Bible, the Quran, okay, the Bhagavad Gita. Any spiritual text, just open it up and start reading. Go to a random chapter, random page. Notice the psalm, notice the chapter or the stanza, and start delving into it. Even something as powerful as looking up the philosophy of Stoicism. That's been incredible for me because it's gotten me to be this kind of very reactive empath to a more sovereign being, one that has self-control. And nowadays my intuition is sharp, man. I can tell when people are just grifting something or they just want, you know, they have ulterior motives or agendas. Like I can totally tell, like immediately, within like a millisecond of just reading their energies, you know? I used to struggle looking at different spiritual communities and thinking like, where are my people? Where is my tribe? Like I would look around and you see all these unicorn, love and light workers, and then you see the black magic, dark side. These are again extreme polarities, right? They're still lopsided in their own ways and they're still lacking in both ways, okay? The right hand and the left hand of God need to come together. The right brain and the left brain needs to come to equilibrium. We can't keep splitting ourselves and fragmenting ourselves. It's not all or nothing. This reality is not in this all or nothing mentality. Yes, I'm all in. Yes, I'm leaning in to my potential. That doesn't mean I have to flip the switch really quickly. I can take my time with it and I can notice my own energy and wavelength, how it's rising and dropping. So I notice my thought, my craving, telling me it's okay, bro, just look at her picture for like maybe 10 seconds. But that edging thought leads you into a relapse. That little voice of temptation is wanting you to give in to your basal lower carnal desires, okay? And just because they're lower doesn't mean they're bad in a sense, right? That primal energy is actually sustaining us and helpful for us. So once I found there's no actual satsang or sangha for me out there, I decided I'm gonna create my own. Now at first maybe that was a bit of an ego chess move, but again, I think you have to build a healthy ego. I don't think you have to remove your ego completely. I think ego death is useful for transformation. When we let ego run the show or put the hands on the driver's wheel, that's when it becomes a problem. But I say build a very solid ego, right? Because it's gonna change, but as long as you're recognizing that you need to transcend those darker parts of you, like get a really big ego, then work to justify it. But understand that ego loves outrage, it loves intervention, it loves attachment, but letting life live through you is peaceful, inconspicuous almost. You know that story of the Tibetan Buddhist story of Milarepa, right? Who was, I believe, a yogi or a monk who was a murderer. But then his master told him, you have to build this tower. And every time he'd knock the tower down and tell him to rebuild it back again. What was he doing there? Because of all of his karma, he had to now get a very, very sharp mind and self-control. He could not get annoyed anymore. So annoyed that what? He's gonna kill somebody? That's super reactive, right? So now his reactivity, his annoyance, that perturbed feeling within is being tested. Is just he keeps doing the same thing, but it's knocking it down, right? And this is actually how we change our subconscious mind, is doing it through repetition, right? Drilling something until it becomes second nature. That's the flow state, unconscious competence, right? And I feel like some people, they basically find others to attack. How about you go to the people that you do like and you actually gas them up and praise them? How about that? I believe in this concept called delusional optimism, okay? And it's not naivete, okay? It's not being misguided. It's a flourishing. So there's languishing, which is just getting by in positive psychology, and then there's flourishing, where you have a great quality of life. You're in that eudaimonic sense of fulfillment. I've realized this, that how do you stop being a bliss junkie, right? Because dopamine, we try to get it through other means. Like, we don't get it here, we try to get it from somewhere else. If we don't meet it there, then we try to overeat or overwork or overstress or overshop or whatever. It's excess, but the road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom, okay? The road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom, so you gotta know your limits. Okay, you got blackout drunk one night. You know your limit now. You're not gonna go there, right? You're not gonna go there. You know your tolerance level. And knowing your tolerance level and having discernment is also a process of self-knowledge and knowing thyself. Tenetnosuke. Because with edging, like, you're still depleting dopamine, right? I used to sometimes justify it to myself, like I'm watching these reality shows because I love to study social dynamics. That's something I'm very passionate about. And so I'd watch these reality shows, kind of wasting my time watching them, and try to break them down, right? Like, really, like, look at the characters, like how this person is speaking with that other person. But all I'm doing, and my ex-girlfriend used to work for one of these reality shows, so you know, I know what really goes down. They're all scripted, bro. Right? None of this is real. They're not like live and, you know, they're live audience or whatever. Nah, man. It's all for the drama. It's all for the juice. It's all for the clout. It's all for the polarizing content. You know what I mean? That's what spikes you in, locks you in. Right? And you see all these beautiful people, like, kind of interacting with each other, and you feel this need to, like, you know, pull towards it or go towards that reality. Like, I could do that, totally, right? Your ego completely takes a stronghold on you with these shows, you know. And you could have your own level of a crutch too. Like, I'm not saying that it's only reality shows. It could be like you're watching anime, but still it's not serving you anymore. That anime is slowly morphing and, you know, rearing its ugly little head, and then suddenly you're watching hentai and you don't even know, like, how you ended up there, because your mind actually starts to stack, right? So it'll take one concept, it'll go into another concept, it'll stack. And when we start overthinking, we start taking facts that are actually true and adding assumptions and justifications and excuses and overgeneralizations and all these distortions, right, over the original objective reality, the truth. What's actually going on? What do I know for sure? How is this helping me, right? I think there's actual gold in running out of moves. You know, when you're in a compromising position, right? When you're in a position where there's no other moves left and you're completely trapped and you need to think of an escape, that's where the real creativity comes in. That's when, like, that spark of innovation comes in. So you gotta get real with yourself, man. That's the first thing. It's like, nobody gives a shit, you know, that you're going on this process, really. Like, in the beginning, yeah, they'll support you, they'll give you thumbs ups and high fives and all this kind of stuff, but you gotta find that will, right? That willingness that sense of like drive. Like I look at myself right now and I see myself in the future, how I want to look, how I want to be. And I'm going to double down on actions that help me to achieve that. But if I just keep hiding my thoughts, and look for the quick fixes and easy techniques, how to stop flatline, how to, stop getting wet dreams, how to stop doing that, how to stop doing, it's like all your mental world is being filled by that. When are you actually sitting down and enjoying your experience of life? Like, I'm breathing, I'm here, I'm alive, Feel this kind of visceral sense of this energy flowing through me, running through my body. A lot of people don't even have that. Most people live quiet lives of desperation, very sedentary lives, right? Look at the subway. Everybody's just looking at their phones, right? Nobody's interacting with each other because that's how we've primed ourselves, okay? One could say this is how society has primed us after the whole pandemic and so forth, but I think that's a cop-out, honestly, because during when the pandemic hit, I was like, I'm ready. I'm an introvert, right? I'm ready to go, okay? I'm actually an introvert who taught myself how to be an extrovert, so that's the thing, right? You can actually teach yourself to change yourself. It's like not set in stone like a lot of, I don't really believe that, personality is like something that's just always like this. Like I've changed so many times, multiple timelines have shifted, ever since I started this channel. So you guys know, okay? Some of you guys have been here since day one or whatever. But with any kind of addiction, listen, flow state is the most addictive state on the planet. Flow state is really the gateway. You have to replace your old addiction with a new flow state activity, something you're equally addicted in, but it's not so much addiction, it's more of a passion rather than an obsession, okay? It doesn't cripple you, it doesn't harm yourself and others in your life by you doing it and practicing that and doing that over and over again, right? It's something that actually builds your character, okay? So let's say that, you're addicted to ketamine or whatever, and you use yoga as a way to get that tranquil effect, similar to the way that ketamine would give you. But now you're exploring it through your very intense way, right? Because you want to get that same level of high as the ketamine. You're going to put yourself into yogic asanas and maybe challenge yourself just a little bit more than the average person. And in the beginning, that's okay as a bliss junkie to chase that high a little bit, to get on to the next thing, to at least maintain some level of functionality, not shame yourself. The real key here is making yourself very, very conscious when you do feel that urge, when you do feel that pull. And just with your breath, kind of slow time down. You see yourself doing the addictive behavior, but you're slowing time down. You're ritualizing it. You're making it more sacred. You're allowing it to do what it needs to do. Because the mind needs something to hold on, to give it hope. That's why the delusional optimism. You see? And what's given me a lot of inner peace is this understanding that I'm not doing anything, right? God is just doing it through me. Like, it takes a lot of pressure off of me if I'm like, my ego comes up, I'm the healer, I'm healing everybody. No, I'm just channeling, right? It's just source energy flowing through me, helping you. Like, I'm not the healer, like God's healing you. I'm just holding the space for you so that you can heal. You see what I'm saying? So the right circumstances, the specificity, the intention, that's what's coming together to really pinpoint the problem area and then transcending it, devouring it, overcoming it. In Stoicism, they say the obstacle becomes the way, right? This is that mentality. Whatever is holding you back needs to give you backup. Ooh, I just came up with that. That's fire. Give me some comments in this video, man, if you resonate with this type of content, because I'm like, whew, I'm in a state right now. I'm telling you. Any kind of way that you're taking yourself away from the present moment, you're escaping the present moment through these coping mechanisms. It's self-administered pain medication is what it is, okay? You're not used to the stress, you're not used to the annoying roommate, you're not used to the, new environment, and so you're using that action as stress relief. But what if you could just change your breath in that moment? What if you had a craving for food? You know that if you just eat something, anything, that craving will go down. So it doesn't have to be you always go for the chocolate, right? Doesn't mean you always have to go for the chips that taste the best, right? But that's what we're used to, right? These sugary powdered packets, manufactured information, like little bite-sized things, right? Who's gonna watch a long video like this, right? Barely, maybe like 5% of people, right? Are gonna watch it all the way through. Others are just like, yeah, but I have a desk job, or whatever their excuse is, right? Like, yo, you can think of 1,000 different excuses, but it's until you step into the dojo, into your own inner world, and you start understanding my thoughts are sneaky, bro. They're hiding. My thoughts are trying to get me to do things. And maybe it's not even me. It could be like the different, beings associated with me are trying to talk over each other, or whatever it might be, right? I don't know that. But what I do know is I have a control of my inner world and self. So I'm going to focus on what I can control, not on what I can't. Okay? That's a stoic mentality. So I hope this video helps you out today. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Upward spiral. May we never be the same again.